Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Manny here once again. Welcome to another WNBA lineup advice video here at DFS Zone. And before I get started, like always, guys, I appreciate you drop a like. And if you have not subscribed as of yet to the channel, please do so down below. And do not forget to turn on your notifications. This way you don't miss any of my new uploads. With that being said, it is Sunday, August the 5th, 2018. We have two game slates for today. I know I had said that I was going to do a video and a live show for today's slate. I had assumed that all four games were going to be put together, but Fanduel has not done that, which I have no problem with the two separate slates. The early games are separated from the later games, so I'm going to basically still give you a video to help you guys out. I'm going to go over the first slate, which is early in the days, the 3 o'clock and the 4 o'clock games, and then I'm going to go and share with you my insight and my advice and what I think about the main slate, which is the other two games later in the evening. All right, guys, so I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. I'm going to be using my Fantasy Cruncher as well. I have the two slates separately on two separate screens. So we're going to go over the Las Vegas, Connecticut, and the Washington, Dallas games first, which is the early games. We got Las Vegas at Connecticut, 170 implied total for this game at the moment. 10.5 point favorite is Connecticut at home, which I think is really a high number here. I definitely like Vegas keeping this game closer than 10.5. And then we have Vegas comes in. They are ninth in the standings right now at 12-14. They're right there on the brink of making the playoffs. They are 3-2 over the course of the last 5 games. They're 2-0 in a row during the course of those 5 games. They are a 6-7 team this season on the road, so they're actually a fairly good road team. All right, on the other side of the ball, Connecticut is 6th in the standings. They are 15-12. They are 3-2 during the course of their last 5 games, and they are in those 5 games played 4 games at home, and they're 2-2 at home. These teams have played each other twice, with both teams winning a game each. Vegas won 94-90 at home, and then earlier part, the very first game of the season, Connecticut trounced them. But of course, there was a couple of girls not playing. McBride didn't play. Kelsey Plum was still out overseas. So it was a 1-on-1 65 game. Obviously, it was a much better game the second time around, just a couple weeks ago on July the 7th. All right, coming in, Connecticut is 5th in pace, 80.7 possessions per game. They're 3rd in points at 85.7 points per game, 3rd in field goal percentage at 45.7%. They're 3rd in three-point shooting at 35.9%, 2nd in rebounding at 37 rebounds per game. They're 7th in assists at 19.3 assists per game. They are 6th in percentage points from 2 at 59.4%. They are 4th in percentage points from 3, 26.8%. They're number 1 in defending guards at 27 points per game, and they're 11th in defending forwards and centers, coughing up 50.8 points per game. On the other side of the ball, we got Vegas. They're 1st in pace with 83 possessions a game, 6th in points, 83 points per game, 9th in field goal percentage at 43.5%, 5th in three-point shooting at 35%, 1st in rebounding at 37.4%, 5th in assists at 19.8 assists per game, 1st in percentage points from 2 at 64.8%. They are dead last in percentage points from 3. They do not base their offense off the 3 ball, so they are low there. They are 12.9%. On the defensive side, points per game given up to guards, they are 94. They're 9th and giving up 94.4 points per game, and they've given up 50.8 points per game to forwards and centers. That is 9th in the league as well. I'm going to go over to the ball game right now. We got Kayla McBride first in hand here. I do like Kayla McBride in this matchup. Kayla McBride is coming in. Let me just get it over here to the cruncher. And I have to actually switch the game here. Give me a moment, guys. This is the beauty here. You can switch the games. Go to the early games. Then they calculate here. I got them with red with thumbs down, and thumbs up. It's just basically for me to be able to pinpoint which ones are the Las Vegas game versus Connecticut, so I don't confuse them. So this way I can move a little quicker. So Kayla McBride is in play here, man. She is at 7,800. She's pretty much averaging about 30.7 points, fantasy points per game. Over the course of her last 4 games, she has hit 40 plus in 4 out of her last 7 games. As you can see here, she had a 40 spot right here against Connecticut, 94-90 game, 36 minutes, shot 10 of 20 and 3 of 6, almost pretty much 50% from the floor all the way across. Had 6 total rebounds, 4 assists, had a solid game, didn't have anything defensively, but she is definitely in play, man. She did not play in the first meeting, as these two teams have played twice, and like I said before, they split 1 game each. But Kayla McBride is in play in a 2-game slate like this. I mean, she is pretty solid. Granted, she's playing against Connecticut, who's a fairly good team, but Connecticut is coming in. Connecticut has actually been doing well, but at guard, defending guards, they have slipped a little bit. They were averaging 27 points per game on the season on average, and they have been coughing up 34 points per game to guards over the course of the last 4 games. So they definitely have had their struggles as of late. Kayla McBride is going to be really, really tough to handle. Courtney Williams is next in play in this particular slate. She is 6,900. You need about 34, 35 from her. Pretty much about 34. She's averaging 25 in the season. She did have a 35, as you can see, in a 41 spot here in the last 2 games. Very solid games all the way across the board, taking massive shots. The usage rate is up. The minutes are good. She's been really been on fire. Definitely was stagnant here during the course of those other few games before that. She did only have a 15 spot against Las Vegas when she played against Vegas, and she only played against Vegas once. Let me see if I can find it here. 15 spot here in 21 minutes, 4 of 11 shooting. Not the greatest night, but she definitely did have 1 assist and 4 total rebounds. I like Courtney Williams. Again, she didn't play in the first meeting. I think this matchup going into today, I kind of am gearing more towards McBride in the matchup against Connecticut. I kind of like Las Vegas backcourt in general over the last couple of days. The last couple of games that seem to be playing really well. That includes Kelsey Plum, which we'll get to in a moment. But if we're gonna go down to Jasmine Thomas, 6,300, not too bad, $600 cheaper. She's averaging about 30. She needs about 31 to cover that price, and she is averaging about 24 a game. She's been solid, 27 to 33 minutes pretty much, as you can see here. The minutes have been really good. Against Vegas, right here in the last game, she put up a 28 spot, so not too bad at all in 31 minutes, nearly 1 fantasy point per minute. And she did that even on an off shooting day, as she had 4 of 12 here, missed every 3-pointer she shot, but she made up with the assists and the total rebounds, and of course she threw in there a nice little steal in there in between. So even when you have a low-scoring game, if you can do other things like this to help your team out, it definitely helps us as far as accumulating fantasy points. So we want to be able to find players like that. So Jasmine Thomas, to me, is someone definitely you can consider in this matchup today. Then we come down to Kelsey Plum is the next person I like in this slate. Again, they're facing a very good defensive Connecticut team, but as I said before, Connecticut has been struggling slightly a little bit against guards as of late, and these 2 players, McBride as well as Kelsey, you'll see here when I get to her Las Vegas against Connecticut. She put up a 31 spot in 33 minutes the last time they played. Shot 4 of 7 and 1 of 3. Not a whole lot of shots, only 10 shots from the floor. But look at the 10 assists. She did contribute with 1 steal and 1 block. So she had a very solid game. Again, 31 spot with only 9 points from the floor is truly fantastic, and it's because she's able to do these other things that generates fantasy points. So I think just from what they have done against Connecticut, they seem to have the right chemistry and the right group, tandem here to be able to give Connecticut a rough go tomorrow. So I kind of like McBride and Kelsey Plum for sure. The last person I'm considering here on a low value play in this matchup is Mariah Jefferson. She did have 2-3 solid games here, 18 and 19 and 26. She did have a 16 spot against Connecticut right here, 16.5. Same price, pretty much the same price as she is right now. She's only $100 more expensive, and she did that all in 17 minutes, pretty much 17 on 17 if you think about it. 3 of 5 from the floor, got 5 assists. She did have 4 personal fouls. You stay away from that. But I mean, if she is going to be able to contribute, she definitely got to get in that 17-18 minute range. As you can see, when she's playing that amount of minutes, for whatever reason, she is definitely doing fairly well. So if she gets 17 to 18 or better, she's definitely not a bad play if you're looking for some value at guard. We go over to the forwards in this matchup, and we're looking for the green ones. We got Asia Wilson. Again, they're ranked 10th, Connecticut, in defending against forwards and centers. They have been a little bit more stingier to the forwards and centers as of late. They're averaging on the season 50.8 points per game given up to forwards and centers, and in the last 4 games they have clamped it up to 41 points per game. So that's nearly 10. That's pretty much close to 10 points better than they have been. So it's not going to be an easy cakewalk here for Asia Wilson, but I really do believe that she has a shot to get it done. I mean, she's really, really good. Asia Wilson's coming in 8,400, and he's pretty much about 42, and she's averaging 40. She has 50-point upside, as we all know. She did have a 58 spot against Connecticut right here, 58.3 in 34 minutes. More than 1 fantasy point per minute. She had massive shots, took 24 shots, hit 13 of 24, had 14 total rebounds, 4 offensive. Second chance opportunities are unbelievable. And then getting 10 boards here on the defensive side definitely negates the opponent, in this case Connecticut, from getting second chance opportunities. So definitely a great game for her. And she also contributed with 2 blocks and a steal. I mean, just a pure stud for her. And then she played obviously the first game of the season for her. Where is she? As you can see, first game of her entire career was against Connecticut. In that loss, she didn't have a few of her teammates there. So I mean, it was definitely, she didn't have McBride, she didn't have Kelsey Plum. I don't even think Tamara Young played in that game either. So that's the reason why they got blown out pretty bad. But 36 fantasy points in 31 minutes, more than 1 fantasy point per minute, and she was on an off night, 3 of 13. Probably had the nerves against her, on her, but she did get to the line, got 8 shots out of 10 on the free throw line, and then of course the 3 offensive rebounds, 7 defensive rebounds, total of 10, and then she contributed with the blocks and the steals, and only 14 floor points. Not too bad, but as you can see, that all increased as she went along. So she got those jitters out, but she did have a solid game. So 2 solid games for Miss Asia Wilson against Connecticut. So I really like her there too. I think she's a solid play as well. Alyssa Thomas is the next one in play for Connecticut. She comes in 7,600. You need about 36, 37, and she's averaging 30. She's pretty much averaging about 30.5 in the season. Did not play in the last game against Vegas, but did play in the first game. And here it goes right here. She put up a massive 54-point game. 54-point game, man, back on May the 20th. And that was a long time ago. But, again, she is very much capable. She hasn't quite hit value in a number of games as of late. But 5 out of her last 7 games, she's at least been near her average. Okay? She's been near her average. Her average is 30, and she's been getting there. 30 or better. She's been getting, her average is, where is she? Listen, yeah, it is 30. She's been averaging close to her average. So she's doing okay. 28 plus over the last 5 out of 7 games. So pretty close to her average. I look for that if she's not quite meeting the value price, because the value price for her is 37, which is tough. These numbers here, obviously these prices on Fanduel are ridiculous, but what can we do? It is only a 2-game slate, so we definitely want to put the best possible line on the floor there for ourselves. So Alyssa Thomas, I think for Connecticut's front court, she's probably the best play. We got Shanae Ogumake next, 7,400. You want to save 200, you could go with Shanae. You need about 36 from her. She's averaging 28. She has definitely 40-point upside. The shots are not quite there. You're wondering why isn't that's happening. Well, look at the games. I mean, they won these games, but they're all kind of like blowouts. So I would say that, give the coaching staff the benefit of the doubt. I would think they took her out of the game just to not allow her to be on the floor, considering they're winning big, and the games never got close enough for her to come back in. That's at least my thinking. So don't let these numbers fool you. She is definitely still a solid player, and they're going to need her really, really badly tomorrow, for them to continue having a chance to make the playoffs here, because Vegas is going to play hard because they're right there. They can smell it. So definitely a tough spot for Shanae and them. But I like Alyssa Thomas a little bit better. I think Shanae is definitely still a fine play. When we go down a little lower, I love Jonquel Jones in this matchup. She's been up and down throughout the year, but she's been pretty solid as of late. She's playing a lot better. She's had 2 32-point games. All right. She's in at 5,900. You pretty much need about 29. and she's averaging close to 22. So the numbers are not too far away as far as her price. She is 4 out of her last 5 games. She's basically been above her average of 21, as you can see, and pretty much at 1 fantasy point per minute. She's done that in 3 straight games. 18 minutes here, 23, 17 minutes here, 32, 24 minutes here, 24. This one was pretty close to a fantasy point per minute. He got another 22 and 32, so she's been pretty solid. I kind of like it. Look at the usage on the floor. She didn't have to be on the floor long. 18, 17 here on those blowout games, but she was very efficient in 18, 17 minutes, 7 and 13, 4 of 8 from through. This is a massive, massive performance here. 21 floor points in 18 minutes. And she did 23 floor points the game before that in 17 minutes. So she's pretty solid, pretty hot right now. I definitely would like to ride her tomorrow on today, on the lineup. I really like her. I think she's a fine play. Next is there Erica Hamby. Miss Hamby, 5.5K. You need about 23. She's averaging 15 and a half. So I look to see if she's at least at 15. She's done that once, twice, pretty much close here, 3, 4 out of maybe the last 6 games. Not a whole lot. It's not a tremendous upside for her for the price at 4,500. But let's see, against Minnesota, she had a 12 spot here in 8 minutes, not a whole lot. And then the prior time before that, here on June the 24th, she played 19 minutes and got a 26 spot. So she had one good game against Minnesota. They're going to need her to play a little bit tomorrow. If it's not going to be her and it's not going to come through, it's obviously going to be Caroline Swords. Okay, so look for that. But I think Erica Hamby could be a possible play tomorrow. And then the last one I'm considering in this entire game is Caroline Swords. Caroline Swords, if it wasn't right here in this game, the last game, if she didn't get into foul trouble, she would have had a much more solid game. She had 11 or 12 fantasy points already after a quarter and a half, but she had 3 fouls before halftime, and she was never able to get out of it. So that's why she only played 10 minutes. But in 10 minutes, she got 15 fantasy points. She got 6 rebounds, and 3 of them offensive. And when you can get more 3 offensive rebounds like that, you're going to be fine. Over here, look at the game before that where she put the 38 spot. 7 offensive rebounds. Total of 10. 7. I'm sure out of those 7, there were a lot of putbacks for her, and that's how she got the 12 points. They were very easy baskets for her. So Caroline Swords is needed up front in this game against Alyssa Thomas and, against... Alyssa Thomas and Shanae Agumake. So I definitely think she's someone in play. All right, and that's pretty much there. That's pretty much what I'm looking at there at this particular game. We're gonna go over now to the Washington-Dallas game. All right, let's go back to the screen here. Washington-Dallas. I don't got no implied totals, at least of right now. The New York time is 1:30 in the morning. I'm a little bit tired, but I feel good enough to get the video in. I did the research a little bit earlier before I went out. But here I'm at. So this is where we at. Washington is coming in. They're 4th in the standings, 15 and 11. In their last 5 games, they're 2 and 3. And during the course of those 5 games, they have played 4 games on the road, and they've won 2 and lost 2. Dallas is coming in the 8th seed. They're sinking, just as bad as the Titanic right now. 14 and 13. I think this team at one time was like in 3rd and maybe 5 or 6 games over 500. Now they're on the brink of being eliminated from the playoffs here in the last like 6 games of the season or so. But they're 14 and 13. In the course of the last 5 games, they're 2 and 3. And during those games, they have played 4 games at home, and they have split those games 2 and 2. These teams have played each other one time before, and Dallas won the game 90-81. It was not too long ago. All right. Dallas comes in 2nd in pace, 82.3 possessions per game, 1st in points at 88 points per game, 6th in field goal percentage at 44.8%, pretty much 45%. 11th in three-point shooting at 30%, 4th in rebounding at 36.4%, 9th in assists at 18.3 assists per game. They're 9th in percentage points from 2 at 54.3%. They're 8th in percentage points from 3 at 22%. They are defensively 8th in defending against guards at 33.4 points per game, and they're 5th in defending forwards and centers at 48.6 points per game. On the other side of the ball, Washington comes in 2nd in pace at 82.3 possessions per game, 1st in they are 3rd in points at 87.7 points per game, 6th in field goal percentage at 44.8%, 11th in three-point shooting. No, actually 7th in three-point shooting at 33.2%, 4th in rebounding, 36.4 rebounds per game. They're 9th in assists at 18.3 assists per game. They are 9th in points per game, percentage points from two, sorry, at 54.3%, 8th in percentage points from three at 24.9%. They're 8th in defending guards at 33.4 points per game, and 5th in defending forwards at 48.6%, pretty much even with Dallas. Okay. Going into the game here, Diggin Smith here on Fanduel is still considered out. I know on Fantasy Cruncher, she is still questionable. I would say I am definitely fading her tomorrow at 8,000. I kind of like the other girls on the bottom here. So I'm going to go right straight to the red means the players that I'm looking at in the Washington-Dallas game. So we go right to Kristi Tolliver. Kristi Tolliver is at 6,200. Pretty much need about 31 from her. She's been pretty good last three. As you can see, had 3 out of the last 5 games. Excuse me. 2 out of the last 4 games, she's had 32 plus. This 31 or 32 point game here was in the All-Star game. But calculating here overall over the last 9-10 games, she has 9 out of the last 10 games. She's at least pulling in her average of 21 plus. So it's pretty close to her average. Slowly but surely, her average has been going up as far as fantasy points per game. She did have a 32 spot. You could pretty much call it a 33 spot here against Dallas, as you can see, 32.9, so pretty much round that off to 33 in a losing cause. She put up she played 35 minutes. Was a poor shooting night for her, but again, when you put up these kind of numbers, that means that she did some other things to help the team out. 3 of 12, 1 of 5 from the floor, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. She was solid there. She had 2 rebounds, but there goes the 9 assists, which is big, 2 steals, and 1 block. When you do stuff like that, even if you get 9, you can still get 30 somewhat fantasy points just because you did these other things to help your team. And that's what I like about Kristi Tolliver. I love Kristi Tolliver in this matchup. Dallas has been going down. Slowly but surely they're sinking. This is the best time to go right after them and put them out of their misery, so to speak. And I definitely like Kristi Tolliver here. She's been solid again against good opposition. She already has shown that she could play against Dallas. If they have no Diggin Smith, that's even a better. That's even a more of a plus. More possibly, they'll probably try to team her up. And if they try to double team her, well, then that opens the doors, obviously, for Ariel Atkins and Natasha Cloud. All right. Another thing I like is that she's one of the top 3-point shooters. So on this particular team, this is really, really a good spot for her. And she's been solid against very good opponents. She always gets up for these games, which I mentioned before. Seattle here, 36 spot. She put up a 35 here against Connecticut against those guards. 36 here against Chicago's guards. Another 40 spot here against Connecticut's guards. So she gets up for these games. Kristi Tolliver, to me, definitely a fine play at 6,200. I love her a lot better than Gray. Gray is in play for Dallas. If there's no Diggin Smith, we know she's going to get some time on the floor. She did get massive amount of time the other day. I just don't like the way that Dallas went about managing their overall rotation. This girl's out there for 33 minutes. She did take quite a bit of shots, but I was more disappointed that they didn't get Miss Kayla Thornton involved, and then they took Glory Johnson out when Glory Johnson was doing okay, and she only played 17 minutes after that. It was just horrible. The whole game was revolved around Liz Cambage, and you can't do that. You got to definitely keep the other players, being involved in the game, and kick those balls out. Let Liz Cambage bring it in, and then kick it right back out, and give it opportunities for Gray and for Kayla Davis and everything. So again, I'm bickering about that. I'm really still bummed out about how bad they played due to the coaching. So until I see them perform a little bit better, I'm really not on anybody in Dallas other than Liz Cambage, because she's the one who's getting all the blunt of the work. Alicia Gray. So Alicia Gray is not a bad play. I think Kristi Tolliver for $300 more is even a more excellent play. Then we come down here. We got Ariel Atkins. Ariel Atkins is in play at 5,500. You need about 27 from her for that price, and she's averaging 21. She did get a 26 spot here against Dallas, as you can see, in 29 minutes. Not a bad game at all. 28% usage rate. She did take a lot of shots, 16 and 9, so pretty much 25 shots, and hit only 10. So really an off night for her. She could have had a lot more than this. Could have been closer to 40 somewhat points if she would have nailed down at least 3 or 4 more shots here. But not, not too bad. 5 assists, 1 steal. So Ariel Atkins is in play as well. Also to point out here, Christy Tolliver averaging 34% from 3, and Dallas coming into this game, giving up pretty much 34 to 35% 3-point shots as to opponents. They are definitely having trouble shutting down teams that are very good from 3. So this is a good, excellent spot also again for Tolliver, who shoots 34% and takes about 6 shots a game from 3. You got also Della Don in the front court. She's the best at it at 39%. And then you got Ariel Atkins at 35, taking about 5 shots a game and shooting 35% from 3. And then, of course, Natasha Cloud, who am I going to discuss next. So I think Natasha Cloud and Ariel Atkins are definitely both in play. If you want to save, I would say $700 or $800 more, go to Miss Cloud. She's playing great minutes. She just came back, 28 minutes, put up 15 solid shots. She's at 4,700. Pretty much need about 23 there, and she's averaging about 19 and a half. So I look to see if she's averaging 19 or better. She's done that pretty close to a few times here, maybe 4. I got her here about 4 out of the last maybe 6 games. She's at 19 or better. Doesn't have a huge upside, but she's capable of getting at once in a while in the high 30s. She got a 39 spot here, okay, and a 34 spot here against Minnesota. So there are some moments that she can be pretty good, but she really needs to definitely play at least 23, 24 minutes or better for that to happen. And so far here, even before the injury, and she was off for about almost 2 weeks, she definitely was getting those amount of minutes, and she's getting fairly decent shots. So if she can continue to do that, she'll be fine. I think she's not a bad play at all. And that's basically it as far as guards in that matchup. We come over here, Liz Cambage up front and Elena Della Don, definitely both in play. Liz Cambage and Della Don, either one of them is going to be highly owned. They're probably going to be both 40% or better. Maybe Liz Cambage will be more highly owned than Elena in my eyes. But I think Della Don is definitely a very, very good player, considering that Dallas has had their issues up front. Like I mentioned before, Dallas comes in here giving up 52.7 points per game, okay, over the course of the last 4 games, and that's 6 or 7 more points than they're averaging for the year. So they're definitely having their trouble, especially in this stretch right now. And this is the perfect time for Elena Della Don to come in here and just kick these people's butts. So I love Elena Della Don here over Liz Cambage. They're both the same price, but they're both in play. Della Don, 6 out of her last 8 games, she's been putting 40 or more. Okay, you can see that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pretty much 6 out of her last 8 games at 40 or more. And then she put up a 39 spot right here against Dallas. Pretty much not the greatest game, 37 minutes. You would expect her to get closer to 50, but she had an off night. 3 of 14, didn't hit a 3, okay? But she did well enough in rebounding, 4 of them offensive, which is freaking fantastic, and she had 5 blocks. So if she can continue to defend like that and then nail down and get more about closer to where she's at 48 to 50% field goal percentage, it's going to be she could get 45, maybe even 50 plus in this game. So Elena Della Don definitely in play for me. Cambage, same thing. 6 out of the last few games. Over the last 6 games, she's pretty much has had 40, pretty much 43 plus in the last 6 games. I mean, she's been solid. There's no doubt about it. And then the last time she played Washington, she put a 63 spot. So she's in there. We know she's capable of getting 80 because she's done it already. I don't think she's going to do that again this year. But she's been on fire, and obviously she is the go-to player right now, especially if Diggins Smith is out tomorrow, later on, out today. It's going to be all on her again. I just hope that they get the other players involved. If not, there's going to be a really big sinking ship here. They're going to end up being 14-14, which I still think they will be. We come down here, Glory Johnson, not bad at all. Disappointing on how they managed her the other day. As you can see here, 13 minutes. I thought it was 15 or 16. 13 minutes. She put up 15, almost a 16 spot. Was shooting a little off, 1 of 4, 1 of 3. She was struggling early on. She got to the foul line, but she was getting things done. 5 offensive rebounds, 7 total rebounds. Are you freaking kidding me? 3 assists, and then that's it. Not even in foul trouble. Only 5 floor points. Big deal. She was doing fine. 13 minutes. You have this girl only play 13 minutes, and then look at the track record before that. How in the hell you figure that out? 33, 23, 20 minutes. taking 7 to as much as 8 shots, getting her rebounds, getting her shots, getting her steals, getting her blocks. She's integral. She's a very important part of your team and your defense. She should have been playing. So I don't know what's the deal there. Hopefully they get that right. But I mean, if you wanted to go with her, I think she's very pricey at $7,000. I always think her price is too high, but she is okay. We'll see what happens with her. I will not be on her, but I mean, again, I just wanted to point that out on how bad that was, on how they did their managing there. Latoya Sanders, love Latoya Sanders. The last time they played each other, I had her in my lineup. She was tearing it up. I thought she was going to take me to the promised land, and that was one of the days I think I got to 100 and something place, but she was in a good spot, man. She was doing very well. She put 47 on Dallas in 21 minutes, 39% usage rate. She took 13 shots, hit 10 of them, had already 5 free throws, hit them all, 5 total rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. She fouled out, but she had at least almost a 27 or 30 spot at halftime, if I remember correctly. She already had like 30, I think, at halftime. She was in a good spot, and then she just continued to get into fouls. That's the only problem with her is that she can get a little too physical. She's, we call them a butcher. She could be very butchy as far as how she places her fouls. And this is going to come down to, listen to me carefully, guys. I really think Liz Cambage, as of late, she's starting to feel the pressure. The team is not playing well. She's trying to do everything she can, and now she's complaining about every little pity-pat foul, and she's getting technical fouls and everything. If Latoya Sanders can put enough pressure on Cambage and cause her to lose her mind, and I can see that happening, it's just going to be a win-win for Washington. But the flip side of that, Cambage, because of her physical style and being as big as she is at 6'8", Latoya Sanders is one of the reasons why she got into foul trouble, is because she did foul quite a bit Liz Cambage. So something's got to give. I'm hoping that Sanders learned from that in the last game, and that she's going to play a better, more disciplined defensive game against Dallas later on today. And I'm all for Latoya Sanders. All right, guys. Azurá Stevens is probably another decent play for Dallas other than Liz Cambage. She will probably be the only one I would consider. She's coming in. She's at 6,300, you need 31, and she's averaging about 20. She's capable of getting 30 to 35. As you can see, she even had a 40 spot here against Indiana. She did have an 18.8, pretty much a 19 spot against Washington in 19 minutes, so that's about 1 fantasy point per minute. I have no idea why she only played 19. I mean, the game was close enough that she could have played a little bit more. The only thing I can think of is that obviously somebody in Dallas was playing better. All right, and they, or it could be one of those days where the coaching staff did not do the right thing again, even though they did win the game. So Miss Stevens is someone you can definitely consider here at 6,300. I am not at all opposed to her. When you come down here to the bottom, Ariel Powers is definitely someone that you could consider here. 3,900. You need 19, and you know what? She's been averaging 11, but 7 out of her last 9 games that she actually has played, she's been at her average. Her average is about 11, and she's been averaging 12 plus in 7 out of those. If you calculate that, she's pretty much done that much. She can get in the mid 20s, as you can see here, against Los Angeles. So she's capable of getting that. She's got even a 36 spot here last year against this team. The beauty of it also is that she's going up against a former team, so you can call this the revenge game or the payback game. So that will be interesting. I would think Washington, especially if the game gets a little out of hand, or maybe even while it's close, she's going to come in and spell some relief, and I can just see her doing pretty well against a former team. I got Plaisance I have here as well. I'm not too high on her. I'd rather play Powers in this matchup, but again, if Dallas is doing well and Washington is struggling, or Washington is blowing away Dallas, then I can see where Teresa might get more time. Other than that, Carolyn Swords is the best value play at 3,700. I think that she's someone to consider there. 1, 2, 3 solid games. Again, she had this bad game over here. What am I? I'm sorry about that, guys. Carolyn Swords, I already covered her. Okay. The last person here is Plaisance. So that's the bottom line there. And that's pretty much it for this actual slate, guys. We're going to go over, let me switch this here on the cruncher. We're going to go to the later slate and get that up here for you guys. Get this over to guards. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to switch this to that late game. So now we got the Phoenix Now we got the Phoenix game. Let me just get my paperwork here. Okay, so Phoenix at LA. We have here implied totals 160.5 with LA favorite at home by 7. All right. Los Angeles comes in ranked third in the league. They're third in the standings. They're 16 and 11. They're 3-2 over the course of their last 5 games, and during the course of those 5 games, they played 3 games at home, and they're actually 1-2 at home in those 3 games. Phoenix comes in. They're fifth in the standings, 16 and 12, 2-3 over the course of the last 5 games, and out of those 5 games, they played 2 games on a row, and they actually won those 2 games. So it's going to be pretty interesting, this game. They have played each other 1 time. Is what I have here, once. And surprisingly, only 1 time. And LA won that game at home 80-72. All right. LA comes in with a pace of 78. They're 8th in points at 79 points per game. They're 2nd in field goal percentage at 46%. They're 6th in three-point percentage at 34.7%. They're dead last in rebounding at 30.6 rebounds per game. 8th in assists at 18.8. Percentage points from 2, they're 2nd at 62.3%. And they're 9th in percentage points from 3 at 21.6%. Defensively, they're 2nd in defending against guards at 28.1 points per game. And they're 4th in defending against forwards and centers at 47.7 points per game. On the other side of the ball, Phoenix comes in 6th in pace at 80.4. 5th in points scoring at 83.7 points per game. They're 5th in field goal percentage at 44.9, pretty much 45%. They're 4th in three-point shooting at 35.4%. 11th in rebounding at 31.8. 3rd in assists at 20 assists per game. Percentage points from 2, they're dead last at 50.6%. Percentage points from 3, they're 2nd at 28.7%. They're 6th in defending guards at 33 points per game. And they're 2nd in defending forwards and centers at 46.5%. All right, we go over to the game, and we'll go over to the guards first. We're starting off with Diana Taurasi. Obviously, Diana Taurasi is in place. Let me just label these out here. We're going to go Taurasi, Bonner, Gray. Sorry about that. I didn't get these done. Essence Carson, Veer, Sims, excuse me, Talbot, and Williams. I think I got everybody. Then everybody else is in red, so I don't confuse them. Okay, I think I'm good. So Diana Taurasi, obviously, hands down, she's in play, man. She's playing against a really, really tough defense. She did play against this defense earlier in the year, and she only put up an 11 spot in 32 minutes. Obviously, not a good game for her. Shooting was off. But then again, this is what LA does to you. So I think she's still a fine play. It was very early on in the year. This was back on May 27th. If you want to take a look at it here. Back on, hold on a second. Come on now. Okay, May 22nd. Let's take a look. Yes, I'm correct. 11th spot on May 27th. So she definitely didn't play well, but you know, she's one of the top dogs in the league. 5 out of her last 7 games, she's been hitting 35 plus. Her average has been 33 fantasy points per game, so she's above average, which is great, and she has also a 50-point upside. So with all that being said, obviously she is definitely someone to consider. Dawana Bonner is another one you can consider. She's $200 cheaper than Taurasi, and when you look at Bonner, you got to look at her in this matchup and in this slate as a forward, because she could play every position on the field, on the court, but she normally plays 3 or 4 for Phoenix. So when you're looking at the matchups, you're looking at her going up, you know, against the players Los Angeles have, like Candace Parker and Nneka Ogwumike. So she's probably going to go up against Candace Parker, and then they're going to leave Griner to deal with Miss Ogwumike, or Miss Ogwumike on Griner. Anyway, nonetheless, so Dawana Bonner, 7,900, you need about 39. She's averaging 32 in the season. 6 out of her last 7 games, she's been above her average of 32, so that's not too bad. She does have 40-point upside, as you can see. She got a 54 spot and 43 here. Okay, it's not a number that she's going to hit consistently, but she is pretty good with that, with getting in that 30, at that 28 to 32 range. So she's pretty solid there. She did only have a 14 spot against LA, so that is definitely, disappointing, because again, this is why LA is one of the top teams, is because they defend 12 spot in 32 minutes. So go figure, man. She did have a bunch of turnovers too. She had about 5 of them in that game, so definitely not a good spot. Definitely a tough game for Dewana Bonner. I think that was way earlier in the year. They definitely are playing better, Bonner and Taurasi as a unit. They're gonna need her tomorrow, so I think she is definitely someone to play. I don't know if I want to pay $7,900 against LA, but she's definitely someone you guys can consider. Chelsea Gray. Definitely like Chelsea Gray here, 7,500. She's pretty solid as well. Another one is in that 26 to 30, 32 range as far as average, consistency. She's at 7,500, need about 36, and she's averaging about 30 per game. 4 out of her last 5 games have been at least near her average at 29 plus, as you can see. 3, 4. Okay, about 4 out of her last 5. Can get you up to about 40x or 8x, which is about 40. And she did have a 37 spot against Phoenix. She definitely had that. I'm going to show you that real quick if I can get there. See, 38.9 against Phoenix on the 27th in 34 minutes. Okay, very, very solid, very, very solid game. Good usage rate, 7 of 14, 1 of 2, got it to the free throw line 8 times, got 8 out of 11, had 9 assists, did have 1 steal. She is a pretty good defender. She usually gets a couple of steals here and there. So I definitely like Chelsea Gray. I think she's in a great spot here today. She is definitely one of my favorite guards here today. Then you got Tiffany Hayes. Sorry, wrong team here again. Stick to the green. Essence Carson is the next one on the list on this particular game. 5,100. You need about 25. She's able to get there. She's done it a few times already. But she did that when she was getting minutes. Her minutes got reduced. She went to 18. It could be also, Elena Beard has just came back, so they probably, wanted to put her in a little bit more. I think Elena Beard, I'll peek into her in a moment. I think she put about 29, 30 minutes, but she didn't. She's a good defender. She's gonna get those steals and sometimes the occasional block and hit the rebounds and assists. She's not a big scorer. But Essence Carson here, if she's able to get minutes, then it's a possibility she could be a good play. Right now at 5,100, needing 25, 26. I don't know if she's going to get sufficient minutes, but I figured that she's a worthy mention if she gets the minutes. Next girl is Elena Beard. Like I said, Miss Beard, 4,600. You pretty much need about 23. She just came back. She played 30 minutes the other day. Only got a 10 spot. 2 of 6 from the floor. Again, she's not going to take a lot of shots, as you can see here. That's her MO. Like 3 to 5, 6 shots. She gets busy in the rebounding, the assists, and she does the dirty stuff. Either she gets mostly steals, and this is where she's good at. When she gets back to that, you'll definitely see a little bit more. So I would think right now, Elena Beard and Essence Carson for me are probably not possible plays here. I love Chelsea Gray. I do really like Miss Odyssey Sims as well, because she gets massive minutes. The minutes are really up there, 30 somewhat points. Minutes per game. She's still 4,400. You pretty much need about 21, 22, and she's averaging 17. And over the course of the last 4 or 5 games, she's averaging 17 or better 4 out of the last 5 games. So she's above average, especially here with the 27, pretty much 28 spot in the 20 here. And she's getting, she's starting to get aggressive and take shots. And that's what she needs to do. If she gets the ball and she's got this kind of time, she's getting this time, kind of floor time, she definitely should try to get a little bit more aggressive and get some more shots off. If she could do that, she could be pretty good. So I think she's not a bad play. Definitely someone to consider there, especially that Phoenix has had their trouble as of late with guards giving up 38 points per game to guards from an average of 32.6. So they are giving almost nearly 6 more points per game to guards. So something definitely to consider. Who's next? Stephanie Talbert is definitely the next person in play, and Miss Williams. These are value plays. I definitely like Stephanie more simply because she's starting to get minutes. She had 31 and 37 in 2 out of the last 3 games, and she has put up some decent points. She had a 20 spot here, 24 spot here, 20 spot here, and she's at a point where she's at 3,600. You really need 15 from her, and her average is 7 or 8. but she's been doing 15 or better in 4 straight games. 1, 2, 3, 4. So at the moment, let's ride the ship, and let's see if they give her anywhere between 15 to as much as 37 minutes. If they give her that much, we'll be good. And not only that is if she will get that, if there is, if Taurasi is getting in some problems, which she's been very, very physical and been kind of like really been getting upset a lot lately. Diana Taurasi has been really, really like nasty in a way on the court. So you never know. But Stephanie Talbot could be a possible play, and of course Miss Williams at 3,200. It's just not enough minutes for me. I mean, but when she does get enough sufficient minutes, 19 here, she got 20. It could, she could possibly give you some points on the floor. I'm not too confident about it, but at 3,200, if you wanted to get some sort of value, you could punch her in there. She could get you possibly close to maybe 12, 15 for that price, at least near value. Technically at 3,200, I'm looking at that as 12 or 13 points, and I think she can get you that. We'll go to the forward side of the ball. The big guns here. We got Sylvia Fowles, Brittany Griner, and Candace Parker, and so on and so forth. Let me just narrow the... did I go over? Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just trying to make sure that I did not go over. Yeah, we did that. Okay. So on the forward spots here, yeah, I just didn't label these here. What a turkey. So which one is green? Phoenix game. So we green, 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 and that's it. Everybody else is red. Sorry about that. I prepared the other slate and I didn't prepare this one on Fantasy Cruncher. So this way I can just really go right to which teams I'm discussing. So Brittany Griner, first one in play here for the matchup between Phoenix and LA. Griner is in play. There's no doubt about it. I think she's in a tough matchup, though, at least in my opinion. She has been solid in the last 2 games. All right, she's at 8,400. You pretty much need 42 from her. She's averaging 39. She has had, as you can see, she has 50-point upside, so she's had 2 good games here. The one game against LA, she put up a 32 spot. Where is it at? Come on now. Yeah, 31.8, a 32 spot in 32 minutes, so pretty much 1 fantasy point per minute. Nice little game for her. 2 blocks, 1 steal. She was pretty good in that game. In that one game against LA. I just don't think in this matchup she's going to get in that high 40, 50 range. I could be wrong. It's a tough matchup. Candace Parker is not that bad of a defender. Guma K is going to be probably on her, because Guma K mostly plays center when she's on the court. So I could see Oguma K, really neutralizing her a little bit. She is pretty athletic. And then I can see the double teams and all that, and definitely some trap plays on Griner and her trying to kick the ball back. She's also capable of turning over the ball as well, so definitely would like to see more of that. I'm sure LA is going to concentrate on that. So I like Griner. I don't think this is a good matchup for her, so I'm definitely going to bypass her. I would definitely fade her, but she's in play for you guys if you want her. Candace Parker in play for me. She's a stud. She's a star. I love Candace Parker. Between her and Della Don, and not only that, it's just 2 cutie pies as well. But 55, 53, 45, and 63. I mean, she's been solid. I mean, 8,300. Pretty much need 41. She's averaging 38. She's doing over 30 minutes plus per game, and 8. Pretty much, you calculate here about 8 out of these last 10 games, she's hit at least her value. Her average of 38 plus. So she's been above average, and she's been averaging. And she has also that 50-point upside. So like I said, I mean, she's solid right there. I definitely like her here. She did not get to play against Phoenix, I believe, in the first game. Or she came in. No, she actually got to play. Yes, she came. This is when she first came back in the season. She missed the first couple of games of the season, and her first game playing for the season was against Phoenix, and they only played her for 18 minutes, and she put up pretty much 17 fantasy points in an off night of 3 of 11 shooting and 1 of 5 from 3. But she is way beyond that now. She's going to be a handful for them tomorrow. For them today. All right, so Candace Parker for me is definitely a solid play. Come down here, Nneka Ogwumike in play as well, 7,900. She is $400 cheaper than Candace. I do like Candace a lot better, but I think Miss Ogwumike is in a good spot as well. So if you wanted to pay down or you wanted to grab these two and team them up, I don't see no problem with that at all. Miss Ogwumike, 3 out of the last 6 games, she's pretty much at around that 32 range. She's had a couple of dud games, but she is pretty good. Can get you, 40 plus, so she can get you, 8x easily. So she could definitely pay that off. She had a 35 spot against Phoenix in the first time they play, so we're gonna go to that right now. And there, where is it? Is it here? Right there. She actually had a 33 spot. 33 spot against Phoenix in 28 minutes, 6 and 9 shooting. 5 of 5 from 3, 1 of 2 from 3, 5 from the free throw line, 7 total defensive total rebounds, 2 assists and 2 steals. She had a solid game. So Ogwumike, definitely that dynamic duel, that double team of Parker and Ogwumike are going to be very tough for Phoenix. And those are my best plays there that I like in that in this slate. In this particular game. Sorry, Atlanta, Minnesota, the next game. I'm getting tired, I guess. Atlanta, Minnesota. All right. Implied totals I have is 155 with Minnesota favored at home by 5. Minnesota comes in. They are 7th in the standings at 15 and 12. In the last 5 games, they're 3 and 2. And in the course of those 5 games, they play 2 games at home. They're 2 and 0. Atlanta's coming in number 2 in the standings, 17 and 10. They're 4 and 1 during the course of their last 5 games, and they're 1 and 0 in those games on the road. These teams have played each other 2 times, and both teams have won 1 game apiece at their home court. Okay, so we're back at Minnesota. Minnesota is coming in. They're 11th in pace at 78.9. That's pretty much 79 possessions per game. 9th in points at 79.4 points per game. Field goal percentage, they're 7th in 44.4%. 8th in three-point shooting at 34.3%, 5th in rebounds at 36 rebounds per game, 6th in assists at 19.5 percentage points from 2. They're 3rd at 61.7%, and they're 10th in percentage points from 3 at 20.3%. Defensively, they're 7th in defending guards at 32.9 points per game, pretty much 33 points per game, and they're number 1 in defending forwards and centers at 41 points per game. On the other side of the ball, Atlanta is 3rd in pace at 82 possessions per game. They're 10th in scoring at 79 points per game, 11th in field goal percentage at 41%. They're dead last in three-point shooting at 29%, 3rd in rebounding at 36.6 rebounds per game, 10th in assists at 17.6 assists per game. They're 5th in percentage points from 2, shooting 60%, 11th in percentage points from 3 at 19.4%, 4th in defending guards at 31 points per game, and they're 8th in defending forwards and centers at 49.5 points per game. All right. We start off here with the guards. Tiffany Hayes, definitely someone to be in play. Obviously, the price is always a little high for Tiffany Hayes. This is a 2-game slate, so she's definitely someone you can definitely consider. She is the better guard out of all the Atlanta guards, and in this actual slate between Minnesota and Atlanta, she is the best player as far as a guard in the actual game. So Tiffany Hayes is in play, 7,400. She is she's at. You pretty much need about 36, 37 to cover that price. It's always going to be tough for her to reach that. She is averaging 28, and I believe that's pretty much where she should be at. Okay, Tiffany Hayes right here. 5 out of her last 6 games, she's been doing just that, hitting her average of about 28 plus. She is solid for like 26 through about 30. So she's definitely a good cash play if you play cash. But GPP, you could definitely throw her in there, considering this particular matchup with Minnesota. You know, she's like I said, she's consistent, 25 to about 30. So you know, she's in play, guys. She definitely is in play. Minnesota is not the greatest defending team, but I have to at least admit they have been playing better against guards over the last few games. In the last 4 games, I have them here tallied at 29.2 points per game, giving up 2 guards, and that's an improvement of about 3 points from their average of 32.9. So they actually have been defending the guards a little bit better, but then again, you're now facing a fairly good guard in Tiffany Hayes. So definitely Tiffany Hayes is in play. Brittany Sykes, plays a little bit of guard, plays some numbers, plays the three spot as well for Atlanta. She usually starts quite a bit of those games, so definitely consider Brittany Sykes as well. She comes in 5,700. You pretty much need about 27. That's pretty hefty from her. She only averages 19, but she's capable of getting you 30, as you can see. She's done that once, twice. She's done that a few times. Almost 30 here as well. So you always got to look to see if there's some upside. But I mean, that price is a little steep. I'm a little concerned with the price. And not only that, I'm concerned at the fact that Minnesota has been playing a little bit better at guard. So if I'm going to go and pay for a guard here, I think I might as well go up to Tiffany Hayes if I'm going to go in that direction. All right. But she is someone you can consider. We go down here. Next is Miss Renee Montgomery. Now, Renee Montgomery may be interesting. She's $5,000. She's $700 cheaper than Brittany Sykes and $2,400 cheaper than Hayes. That's $5,000. You need about 25. And you know what? She's averaging 19, so it's not too far away from her, her price. So she is capable of getting that. As you can see, she has 40-point upside. She did it twice already over the course of 8 or 9 games. I don't know, 19 plus over the last 3 games. That's above her average, so that's pretty good as well. The minutes are good, 25 to as much as 31 minutes over the course of 3 games. She took a massive amount of shots in the last game, only took 12 shots and 9 from 3. I mean, definitely a bad game shooting on both the entire floor. But, if she nails down a couple of those shots and she shoots that many shots again here in this matchup against Minnesota, she may be a very surprise, play here for Atlanta against Minnesota. I like pretty much any guards against Minnesota. So I would say Tiffany Hayes is a good play, and Renee Montgomery is probably a better, cheaper play at $5,000 just because of the upside. All right. Next I have here, and the only other person is Danielle Robinson. She is one of the Minnesota players. I just like she's fast, she's quick, she's slashy, she's competitive. 2 out of the last 4 games, she's at 26 and 30. Okay. But she's not getting a lot of time. Again, all of a sudden, the last game against Seattle, bam, they didn't play her a whole lot, only 13 minutes. So it's just tough to gauge what they're going to do. I don't like Whalen. I don't like Augustus. So me personally, she's the only one that I would consider if you're considering anybody from the Minnesota backcourt. All right. Let's go to the forwards. Quick and easy here. Sylvia Fowles. She's at 8,500, man. And my thinking here is that Atlanta, if they were looking at the film of what some of these teams have done with Sylvia Fowles as of late, as you can see, she has been a little up and down, but lately the defenses have been clamping up on her a little bit, and she has been like turning over the ball and having issues. She's, we all know she is basically a post-up player. If you can box her out, if you can double team her, if you could definitely, put her in a position where she's going to have to be quick decisiveness, she's going to make mistakes. And that's what happened with Seattle the other day. So if Atlanta takes that same approach, which they have good, wingspan players in McCautry, Elizabeth Williams, and Jessica Breland, they can create a big, big problem for Miss Fowles. So I think she's in play, but I don't think, for me, is someone that I'm considering. She's at 8,005. You need about 42, 43. She's averages 39, but she has only been at her average 4 out of her last 8 games. So she's definitely have had a setback, as far as gaining any more fantasy points per game. So I'm a little feel for there. If I'm gonna go with anybody in that game for Minnesota, I'm gonna have to go with Maya Moore. Maya Moore is $400 cheaper. She's been another one, a little unsteady. Her field goal percentage has been really shaky as of late. But then again, she's also been having a little trouble in keeping up her fantasy points per game as well. She is at 8,100. You need about 40 from her, and she's averaging 31. And 4 out of her last 8 games has been at around 31. So she's had at least 4 games, as you can see here, 19, 14, and 23 and 9 during the course of that stretch that she has not performed well. Now, granted, there's been a couple of games that were blowouts, so obviously she didn't play as much minutes. But if you look here at the stats, her shooting was not too good. 2 of 9 and 1 of 3 of here. 4 of 7 missed both threes here. 8 of 17 here. 3 of 15 here. 12 of 28. A lot of shots here. Did get 45, but she still missed 16, quite a bit of shots here. She missed about 16 shots still, and she missed 6 from here. So she has been struggling with her field goal percentage, so that is a concern. And coming in, Atlanta has been solid. Remember, Atlanta in the last 4 games, 45.7 points per game given up to forwards and centers. They've been really, really strong there. They have improved in that area by 4.5 points per game. So Atlanta has been really, really stingy in the front court against opposition. So definitely a concern there for Maya Moore, but I think she's the best play if you're looking at Minnesota front court over Sylvia Fowles. All right, and that's pretty much where I'm at. I don't see, sorry. As far as Minnesota, that's all I see. Then we get down here to the bottom half. We have actually McCoughtry, Williams, and I forgot to put in here Breland. Surprisingly, I made that mistake. Jessica Breland is in play. Sorry, guys. I don't have her in the pool, but now I do. And let's put a little on there. So Angel McCoughtry, she's in play. I don't think she's the best play, but she's in play. She's quicker. She has good wingspan. You know, she's very athletic. 7,500. Pretty much need about 37 to cover that price. She's averaging 31. She has hit 31 or better in 3 out of the last 6 games, so that's not too bad. She can get you 40. You know, she has 40-point upside. As you can see, she can get there. She does take massive shots. She's one of the top scorers on the team. So it's very, you got to understand, that's another thing you look for. If you can find a couple players on the team that are going to get massive shots and massive amount of minutes and usage rate, those are the kind of players you want to really try to, target. And this is not a bad matchup for her against Minnesota. She did a 23 spot pretty much right here. Where is it? Against Minnesota. Let's look at see what she did with Minnesota. 24 spot pretty much against Minnesota in 22 minutes. Bad shooting day, 2 of 10, but she still went ahead. She had a bad game total because even rebounding here, her average is about 7 a game, so she only had 3 here. 4 assists. She did have 3 steals. That definitely helped there. And then the first game around, she put up a 38 spot right here on May the 29th. Pretty much a 39 spot. 39 fantasy points pretty much in 24 minutes. Shot 50% from the floor pretty much straight through. And had the total 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 2 blocks. I mean, that's more like Angel McCoughtry. So I say McCoughtry is definitely in play. Jessica Breland is in play as well. 7,300. You need about 36 from her. Yeah, you see a little bit of red here, but they are some 30-somewhat point games. Definitely above projection, so she definitely has done well there. 7 out of the last 10 games at 27 plus, and 27 is her average. I always try to base it on their average first and then see if the value is there and they have the capabilities of at least getting to value or crushing value. In this case, 7,300. This is the reason why these are pink and red, because she didn't quite pass that value point, but she's capable of doing it. All right. She did have a 29 spot against Minnesota in the last game. Where is it? Right here, 29 on the nose. In 23 minutes, that's more than 1 fantasy point per minute. It wasn't for the shooting. It was more so rebounding, okay, and blocks. And that's what Breland brings to the table. She can block, she can steal, and then she could do the easy putbacks. All right. In the first game, she put up a 34 spot. She put up 34 points in game number 1 right here. 33.9, that's pretty much 34 in 32 minutes, more than 1 fantasy point per minute. So far in the 2 games, she's had the best outing. So Jessica Breland is someone to consider. Elizabeth Williams, same thing, 6,600. You need about 33. She's averaging 22.5. And over the course of the last 10 games, as you can see here, 22 or better, she's done it at least 7 times. So she's capable of at least hitting her average and has the potential to meet value, which is 35, 36. She's hit 37 there, 34 there. Not a whole lot of upside, but she can get you there. Okay, she can get you there, and she is getting minutes, and she defends. She's a blocker, a stealer. You can see that all here. Look at this: 6 blocks, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. So yeah, definitely Elizabeth Williams in play. I kind of like the front court of Atlanta all over Minnesota. It's going to be 2 good front courts, but I think they have the advantage. I'm not on a Rebecca Brunson, but she is someone you can consider. She is at 6,100. You need about 30 from her, and she's averaging 22. And she's had a 15. She did have an 19 spot and 18 spot here. But against Atlanta, she really hasn't had good performances. Let's see. Atlanta, yeah, she had a 16 spot against Atlanta in the last game in 31 minutes. Didn't do a whole lot as far as scoring. She did get 6 rebounds, 3 assists. but not a whole lot of fantasy points because she didn't score much. And then in the first game, she put up 21 or 22, I believe. I think I went too far, but I think she put up a 21, 22. So I'm more in favor of Elizabeth Williams or Jessica Breland. So that's pretty much where I'm at with those girls there, you know. I think I covered everything, man. So that's all the games right there, guys. That's all the games right there. I hope this helps, man. I mean, you know, I do the best I can. It is pretty late in New York. It's now almost 2:15. Oof. Long day. All right, well, again, guys, man, good luck on the slates, man. I think that they're pretty good slates. I think they're going to be excellent games after obviously the freaking cancellation yesterday. That didn't help. It did definitely hurt me in a number of my lineups, but it is what it is. And I hope some of you guys were able to play some of the early game or the late game and was able to cash. I didn't hear from anybody today, so I don't believe maybe anybody did. I think a lot of people took a little burner there from Fanduel. But again, we just got to keep grinding, guys. Let's just keep grinding. We got another nice slate here today. So let's go out there, build your lineups, make some money. Remember, there's not going to be a live stream for this because of the games being 3 o'clock and a different slate at 7. I will be coming back again with the live show on Tuesday. All right, so be on the lookout for that. I will be notifying everybody through our Facebook page and our Facebook group, as well as Instagram and Twitter. So you guys will be, you know, at least informed there. And again, you know, drop a like on the video, man, if it helps you. Again, so share the information with others that you may know in DFS or anybody that's interested in getting in DFS. And of course, most importantly, you know, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. And don't forget to put on those notifications. And of course, we also have a Facebook group. Please come and join the community. I'll get the alert and I will accept you and you will be in. All right, guys, let's keep growing the community. With that being said, hey guys, good luck tonight. Good luck today. God bless. Have a great Sunday. And I'll see you guys by Tuesday.